Welcome everyone to full lesson in 10, where we give you everything you need to teach outstanding lessons consistently. Today we are looking at our second sprint lesson, where we're moving on to the 200 meters. Now for this lesson, I do advise that you will need a track at your school to be able to do the 200 meters properly. So hopefully you've got that in place. Let's take a look. So as always with our videos, there's a full range of objectives to pick from, and then you can pluck 3 differentiated objectives based on the ability level of your class. So here they are. Feel free to pause the video to take a closer look. So the warm-up is set up the same as in the first sprint lesson that we covered, apart from the fact this time I'm assuming that you have a track available. With sprint lessons, I suggest not to get too complex with the warm-up. This is the most dynamic lesson that you're going to get, and so ensuring the students' bodies are prepared is the main priority. If you are following on from our first sprint lesson, then this time just put a bit more onus on the students to come up with the movements that are coming up on the screen now and take more of a lead in the warm-up. So the first line of students will go first, and as they approach the target cones 10 to 15 meters away, then the next line of students can go, and then work your way through the movements until students are warmed up properly. Now the main technical aspect that we're adding into this lesson is the running of the bend. So this setup in the image here, this will get students practicing just running some short bends. Now, a word of warning, don't do this lesson if there's a slippery surface, a bit of dew in the morning, for example, and be careful not to make these bends too sharp. I would get the students running this bend first without any advice from myself, and then look out for some particular mistakes. So one certainly to look out for is running too wide around the bend. And I'm sure you'll be able to pick some examples from your class that make this error. Students will also need some advice on leaning into the bend. Use your questioning to get as much of this information out of the students as possible. There's some example questions on the video right now, and then you can give the students a chance to practice that, and then you can get into some races. So this is what that would look like. A relay race where the team around the blue cones compete against the team around the red cones. This is an alternative setup you could use. So here we've gone full circle, and the students would find this fun. However, it can cause a couple of problems in that the turns are a little bit tighter, and this can encourage too much of a lean into the turns, especially if you're going all the way around the circle you've created. So this is what it would look like. And then this could easily be turned into a relay activity as well. Right, so when teaching the technique for taking the bend in the 200 meters, then you would tell students to lean into the bend. Now, some students can take this a little bit too far. So rather than that exaggerated lean there, you just want a slight lean into the corner. Now you can get students to do that just from the movement of their head. So if a student turns their head slightly into the direction of the turn and then chin slightly down, then naturally the shoulders will come round and you'll get a slight lean into that turn. So now we can look to put what we've learned into practice in a full 200 meter race. Now, if you've followed on from the last sprint lesson, you should have groupings of who finished where when you did the differentiated races at the end of your 100-meter lesson. So you can use these same groupings to differentiate the races for the 200 meters. So as students race in their differentiated groups, the person that comes first can then move up a league, and the person that comes last would move down a league, and you can continue to differentiate your sprinters. Those that are watching the race, they can look at the person in their group, watch them, and feedback as to how well they have put that turn in the bend technique into practice in the race. Now, before the races have started, or maybe after your student's first race, you can talk about tactics within the 200 meters. Now, it's a common misconception that the 200 meters is a full, all-out, 100% effort sprint. Now, if you think that's the case, then I challenge you to try and do that yourself and maintain 100% top speed for that 200 meters. It's pretty much impossible. So you can give the students an idea as to 4 different phases of the race. So first of all, we want to get as quick a start as possible and accelerate as fast as possible into the turn. So we want that first part of the race to be 100%, looking for full acceleration. Now, going round the turn, which is the part of the lesson that we've learned about today, we can save a little bit of energy. So we're still sprinting, we're still trying to maintain a good speed, but we're just saving a small percentage because we've got to need that later in the race. Then as we come out of the bend, we want to accelerate to hit top speed. And then for that last part of the race, it's about maintaining it. So trying to relax every part of the body and try to maintain that top speed as much as possible. And then that is the challenge. So the key part again is that bend, just trying to save a little bit of energy for later in the race. So hopefully that was helpful. If it helped at all, please like, share, subscribe, and be sure to check out the 4 videos on habits that underpin all of these lessons. Put that all together and you should have yourself an outstanding lesson.